finances of its new advertising campaign. Kaepernick was the first player to kneel during the national anthem at games, a protest against racism and police brutality. It stirred controversy. Even the US president weighed in, saying he'd love to see NFL owners fire protesting players. Kaepernick, who played for the San Francisco 49ers, hasn't been signed by any team since the protests in 2016. Let's get more on this with Allyson Stewart-Allen, who's the CEO of consulting firm International Marketing Partners and joins us now. Good to have you with us. Nike's decision has already had an impact on its shares. We've seen share prices falling. So how is this likely to affect their business, given that this man is so controversial?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Firstly, brands that take a stand, increasingly connect with their customers, believe it or not. And while you risk alienating a certain amount of, number of spenders in a market, you also attract a number of people because you are prepared as a brand to stand up for what you believe in. Now, this isn't really news because in some ways, if you go back to the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, even a month ago, and look at Benetton. For years they've had very controversial images of AIDS patients, of religious leaders in compromising and controversial poses. And that's got people like us talking about the brand, but it also attracts a certain number of people in the market to the brand because it's prepared to put its money where its mouth is, to some extent.
But there's a fine line between getting publicity for your brand and actually suffering a backlash, because right now Nike has got people lampooning its "just do it" as "just burn it," and pictures on social media of people burning Nike clothing, and as I say, share prices have dropped. So could Nike be in a position where it regrets this decision?
Yes, it could. And depending on which way things go in the U.S. over the next week or two, or even perhaps longer, if nothing else, what Nike's done is it sparked a debate about whether you ought to be very open and transparent and public about what you believe in as a company and as a brand at the cost, if you like, of alienating a certain section of the market. And we know that brands that are clear about what they stand for and are taking risks in alienating, if you like, or excluding some of their customer base, that in the end, the fans that stick with them are the fans that have that passion and will continue to be advocates for the brand. Apple is a perfect example as well. You either love Apple and are prepared to be in their ecosystem, or you absolutely detest them and choose alternative systems. So, it's not surprising in some ways that this brand, Nike in particular, is being very upfront about its values.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story, and we'll see how it pans out for Nike. For the moment, Allyson, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Allyson Stewart-Allen there. Relatives of two Reuters journalists